they acknowledge that they should have taken a more active role and that there were certain things they should have done. And probably the most important aspect of this decision and why we at FLA care quite a bit was the Lacey Act compliance program that came out of it. And so if you're familiar with the Lacey Act, you know that there is a due care requirement that companies have to show that they've made an effort and thoroughly engaged to try and figure out the sources of their wood and their suppliers. So this is designed to sort of enhance Gibson's future actions and their course of performance when it comes to exercising due care and when they're purchasing their goods. So unlike ever before, in the legislation there isn't a detailed selection of language that talks about what due care is. This is the first sort of presentation of what might constitute due care. So in the decision, it provides a list of steps that Gibson must follow to make sure there's sufficiently diligent inquiry into legality. There's an annual supply chain audit, compliance training, disciplinary policy for violations. In any case, that decision is very significant because it has impact outside the case. Even though it's only applicable to Gibson Guitars itself, it does send a broader message to the community that illegal trade in illegal wood products will be taken seriously. So just to conclude rather rapidly so we can get to the limited discussion time that we have. There's no doubt the Lacey Act has had significant effects on changing supply chains and increasing transparency in and around the world of logging. We've seen importer demands to ask questions about the sources of their wood increase. There's certainly room for more of that, but it's had a huge impact there. In addition, I think the Gibson case has really highlighted the significance of the Lacey Act to a new degree, increased its importance and people's awareness. The decision sends a message that the Lacey Act is what we like to call not a toothless tiger. It actually does have, is a powerful piece of legislation that has the means to change consumer behavior in ways that other things have not been successful in the past. And if we change our consumer behavior, that should hopefully trickle down all the way along the supply chain. So now companies engaged in international commerce in seafood, wildlife, paper, and wood products can view the Lacey Act as a piece of legislation that is powerful and something to be reckoned with, if you will. So like never before, it is really imperative that companies take proactive steps to really be Lacey Act compliant, and that they should put comprehensive compliance programs in place and really execute them. And we at the Forest Legality Alliance wanting to assist in that role and play a part in helping those companies who are interested find the resources they need, get the information that's useful so that we can make the Lacey Act work and then build a strong system of forest legality in the US and around the world. So it was rushed, but thank you. And if you want more information about our declaration tool and our risk assessment, that's our website, and you can find those resources there. It also provides information on specific countries. We haven't done everyone yet, but there are a handful like that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Megan. I really do encourage you to, if you're interested in these issues, to look at the Forest Legality Alliance website. It's been getting good for a while, and it's got a lot of really good, useful, interesting stuff on it. So we'll open it up now for any comments, questions. You'd like to sit up here. I got a microphone here I can pass around. I can do the honors on that. Anyone have a burning question, comment? Start there. Go ahead.
I have a small question to last speakers. Am I right? Actually, the U.S. Lacey Act is focused on the timber, not focused on law, illegal law, not timber. For instance, after processing or the law, then processing. So they will not look at the I'm not sure how I say this because the timber means process. process from the law. It's focused on the law. That's one. Second question is something like Lacy Act is deal with trade. If the illegal logging in United States it's no problem. If you trade out, it will be problem. Am I right? Is that the issue? I'm not sure. That's how I raise that question.
Is your question, is it only
Only
for
for
export?
trade, export and import.
It's internal as well.
Internal as well.
If you cut it illegally in California and you transport it to
But
New York,
within California,
within the if it's within California, no, because the federal government can only regulate interstate commerce between states and
I
international
understand.
commerce.
Okay.
So if you cross state lines, it was originally designed mainly about bird feathers from Florida coming up north in the late 19th century. So it was bird feathers coming from Florida into the clothing trade. It was very fashionable to wear bird feathers in the 19th century, and they made hats and things out of them. And that was one of the main origins of the Lacey Act.
The first one.
Well, your question on
is it timber or the log?
It's over as far.
For instance, okay, if the log is legal log, but processing is,
it's for both.
Yeah,
log and
socially it's
process.
not legal. Like you employ the illegal labor to processing that. Then it become illegal timber. Thing.
Right, so it's not, the wood itself may be legal to harvest, but if you don't follow legal procedures to harvest that wood, then it becomes illegal.
But after the law, after law for processing.
Yes.
So you cut it down and then you transported it and you're supposed to pay taxes and you did not pay taxes,
It's
you exported it, then it could be prosecuted under the Lacey
Illegal,
Act.
let's say.
Yes.
But after pay tax, the law is there. Then processing is illegal. What's happened? You employ the illegal labors.
It's a whole chain.
Once it's illegal, then it is the whole subsequent chain. It's tainted, it's done.
I'm not sure how. Clearly, if I'm the manager, I buy the law in the United States, and I employ the Mexico people from illegal labors to processing this law. Then I sell to the market to other states. Is that legal or illegal?
I'm not sure. Can you say that again?
I'm the manager in New York now.
New York, okay.
And I buy the legal timber, legal law. No problem. It's legal.
It's okay.
It's okay. Then I hire some Mexico, illegal workers and work in my factory and process it and deliver to California. What?
Well, think about it this way. If I'm a prosecutor,
Huh?
if I'm a prosecutor, because the thing about the Lacey Act is you're innocent until proven guilty. You don't have to prove it's legal. The U.S. government has to prove in a court of law that it's illegal. So if I'm going to prosecute you,
As illegal.
I'm not going to prosecute you under the Lacey Act if there's a labor violation. I'm going to prosecute you for the labor violation.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
That Lacey Act will not deal with that issue.
I might, but I don't think I would win. I don't think I would make a big
strongest.
It's so complicated. I'm sorry.
I think there was one right here. Please.
I come from Panama, and there we have been having increasing problems with legal and illegal logging. When I mean legal, it means illegal procedures that have become legal somehow with corruption acts.
Or
There is a lot of
sanitarian matters, no? That they
There, especially from the Darien area, which is Colombia, there have been extraction of rosewood. Yeah, the perception is that it's going to China, and we, as an NGO, we have been denouncing this through the media. We have been written to CITES, but I wonder in this case, if, for example, in China, is there any revision, any care for where this timber is coming from, And what experience would you have with CITES? Will it do something? Is it effective right now? Because it's such a problem because the government authorities are actually accomplices. Accomplices, and the guards are also corrupted, and it's everything from the permits to the transportation and the aduanas, the customs, everything. It's terrible, and there is not any control whatsoever of what tree are you taking, because there are also community or subsistence permits, and they use the same permits and they take as much as 10 times what they were approved to extract, and it's a huge problem we're having. But I wonder about what other means can we kind of use so that we reduce these problems in Panama. It's rosewood, and rosewood, for instance, is a very high price right now.
You can ask for more questions and then.
Okay, we'll ask for a few more questions and gather them together. Yeah, please. Let's go.
Rob Fowler from Australia. If I could just add on to that question from Panama, from some experience working in Indonesia around actually training judges to enforce forestry laws. They didn't get much work out of that. One of the things that was learned there was that perhaps you need to also look in terms of the more organised aspects of the illegal trade at the issue of money laundering. My question to the panel is to what extent, alongside working within the forestry law policy framework with what we've heard today, is there any interest in these kinds of anti-corruption measures which seek through tracking the money trail to actually try to get to the bigger offenders, because that does seem to have been the way that the focus has begun to shift more recently in Indonesia.
There is one question over here.
This is a rather specific question about the possibilities of the use of money from the forest investment program in Mexico. Denmark is one of the contributors to this forest investment program, despite some reticence in an earlier stage about whether or not we would like to put money into Mexican forestry. But nonetheless, we have done. And one of the projects that is involved is a project to establish technical assistance to build community capacities for viable business administration and entrepreneurial skills for community-based enterprises in Mexican forest sector. I wonder, are you making use of these funds? Are you involved in the discussions with the government agencies about this project? And do you think that it is going to help you using those funds to improve legality in the Mexican forest sector?
Take one more quick one here from Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah Price with PEFC International. Thanks to the speakers for a great session this afternoon. Just had a small question for colleagues from Mexico. You mentioned that CONAFOR has a legality scheme that they use or have developed to the ATP, and then your recent work on evaluating a more comprehensive legality framework. And you mentioned how the CONAFOR's legality scheme fits into just one principle, Principle 2. And I was just curious, is there an appetite or a dialogue from your work and your current learning back to CONAFOR to see if there's an appetite for expanding their scheme as well to include a more comprehensive framework and definition on legality?
Do you want to add just one more there, and then we'll...
Just a quick comment about Mexico. Is there is another thing happening, and change of the use of land as a way to avoid all the assessments and all the management programs and plans, just letting diseases and all the sanitarian problems with these or just putting in fire the woods and to change the use of land. No, it's another fact that contributes to this problem. No, isn't it?
Thank you. Should we pass on the pass on the questions? Would you like to? You got it.
Okay. You have another microphone.
So it's only words only. So in terms of Denmark, yes, we are in touch with Financiera Rural, that is this development bank in Mexico. They're having a conversation about FIP, and we're talking about it. We are very interested, and we're very happy to be in touch. In terms of Panama, we are having the same problem. It's very difficult to track. There are permits, and permits are easily falsified. And nevertheless, the Ministry for the Environment mentioned when we were having this forum on legality that they are going to be implementing an electronic way to control permits. But nevertheless, it's very difficult to track. How you prove that this one particular tree is coming from one particular plot of land? Very complicated. In this forum, we had Mexico. We talk about technology to do it, but the more technology you use it to prove the sourcing of your wood, the more expensive it gets and the less competitive the wood becomes. So it's very complicated, and we don't have answers yet. I don't know if someone from my team can say more about it. In terms of plague, you were mentioning plagues, and that's another issue. In Mexico, when you talk about certified wood, most of the people are only thinking of in terms of bio. No. Just the wood should be treated to avoid plagues dissemination.
Phytosanitary.
So it's a sanitary thing, and it's the only. When you talk about certification, they only come. That is what it comes to the man. So it's part of the environmental regulations on principle number 7. Yeah, if I remember well. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
ATP.
And thank you. The ATP certification scheme. Okay, it's. We're very happy and just to carry conversations about it. I believe that conservation values haven't really been undertaken. They are not taken into consideration. So much of this should be discussed further in Mexico.
Sorry. Okay. Beforehand, I hand over the microphone to Shane, who will answer the remaining questions. I think that I just want to put into this issue of what can we do to reduce the level of corruption and problems associated with the officials who turn the backside to other things and allow logs and timber products to just flow without taking care. The VPA envisaged that the wood tracking system will be barcoded, and when it means barcoded, it implies that immediately a tree is being felled in the forest, there's going to be a barcode attached to it, and the point of felling will also be recorded on the GPS. As the barcode is moving, actually technology has improved these days that you can even track it along on the way of the road as it's going. When it reaches the sawmill, when it's pieces into different sizes, it's again the same barcode accompanies it until it gets to become a lumber or until it becomes a table or a chair or whatever eventually it becomes. But then, like one of my colleagues just mentioned. It's expensive. You need to first of all set the system working and then make sure that you monitor it. And every technology also has the human component, and there will be the need for capacity enhancement. And more importantly, a change of our own ways of doing things also, and make sure that we ensure that we again get the best out of it. So, Chair.
Well, the only response I have from Panama, we actually, this is outside of FLA context, but my organization, Environmental Investigation Agency, did a big report on Peru, kind of trying to expose that same sort of corruption and attention to detail and going into
Actually,
what's...
USID is behind that too. I mean, not the corruption, it's behind the program. USID is closing in Panama. So, right.
but I would like to talk to you afterward and
Yes,
share
yes.
that report because I think you'd find it very interesting.
Okay, good.